Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of Michigan Conservative Roundtable. This is TJ in the middle here. I'm surrounded by Marty and Mac. And in this video, we want to discuss our pro-Israel stance, our thoughts behind it and why. And I'd like to start first by referencing Genesis chapter 12, verse 3, in which God is speaking with Abraham. And he says to Abraham, I will bless him that bless thee, and curse him that curseth thee. And I've always felt anyone who claims any kind of real Christian theology, I don't know of any other way to interpret that particular verse. If you want to enjoy God's blessings, then you need to be a friend of Israel. I can't think of any other nation in this planet that has taken so many first strikes and shown restraint. Most nations, there'd be all-out war if they took the kind of hits Israel has taken and will probably still keep taking. You think about it, they're the only existing democracy in an area that exercises Sharia law. Has anyone given that a thought? There's the accusation of how Israel is the occupier in all these areas. Yet they conveniently forget that they've come to occupy these lands given previous wars. You think of the Six-Day War, Gaza Strip from Egypt, Sinai Peninsula from Egypt, West Bank from Jordan, East Jerusalem from Jordan, Golan Heights from Syria. And the thing about the Six-Day War, and I know that's going back to 1960-something, but three countries simultaneously moved on the small country of Israel. There are some reports that perhaps Israel moved first on one of them, but you know what? When you got three enemies staring at you from three different directions right across the boundary, you know, when do you stop taking the first hit? And it just really fires me up to hear all this nonsense about the oppressive occupation Israel has on these areas, and I'll let these guys comment.
You bring to mind, when you mentioned the first strikes they've taken, it comes to my mind back in the early 90s when Saddam Hussein was tossing Scud missiles at them on an hourly basis, that people were saying they need to show restraint. Did anyone think we should show restraint after Pearl Harbor? I mean, seriously. You're being attacked, you fight back.
Yeah.
You don't show restraint.
No, you don't. You don't. And I'll even go so far as to say that when they haven't shown restraint, they've been very judicious about things. When they destroyed the Iraqi nuclear reactor?
Yes.
It was back in the early 1980s, yeah, you know, because that was designed to try to give them nuclear materials, and they've, you know, most of the Arab world has made no bones about the fact that they want to destroy Israel. And you want to talk about restraint. Restraint is cool when restraint is called for, and they have been very restrained. But they've also been very quick to defend themselves when they've needed to. And I think that's a good example of that.
All right, well, as we were talking about this topic amongst the three of us here, I mentioned how President Donald Trump has been, for me personally, he has been quite the surprise on this political issue. When he was running for office, I mean, we were all thinking we need someone to stop the liberals, and he was a fighter. Never in my mind did I imagine that he would be so pro-Israel. And to use a term that I hate to use, but boy, does it apply here, added value. The term added value most certainly applies to President Trump. When he moved the embassy to Jerusalem, and from what I'm told, all the other presidents going back to the first Bush, they were going to move it there, but they never did. Well, we intend to, but not right now. And Donald Trump, President Donald Trump, he just doesn't. Or recognizes the Golan Heights as part of Israel. Strategically, people don't understand how important that is. Syria wanted to control the Golan Heights so they could arbitrarily lob munitions into the actual country of Israel. And it goes back to Israel taking first strikes. Marty?
Well, isn't that a basic thing? I mean, and I don't know much about the terrain, but I'm assuming Golan Heights are heights because they're militarily important. You know, and you want
The
the
high
high
ground.
ground. You want the
Yes.
high ground. So, yeah, the Syrians wanted, they wanted to use it just expressly so they could decimate Israel. And wow, Israel took it away from them. Well, you know what? They've earned the right to keep it. And I'm really, really impressed. I got to stress what TJ just said. I'm really impressed with President Trump's support of Israel. You know, so many politicians want to give up things toward political considerations. And Trump's not doing that. Hey, we've been saying that we're going to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Then let's either do it or shut up about it.
Right.
And he did it.
Going to the added value thing that TJ talked about, I can't help but think that this is another example of how President Donald Trump, they'll say, oh, he's caused the hate, he's caused the racism. All he's done is reveal what the left is really about, which is racism, hate, lies. And this is another example of it. He's revealed their anti-Semitic tendencies. And I think most of those are stem from, they come from just jealousy. Oh, the Jews own all, I had a guy tell me once the Jews own all of the movie studios. And I said, no, they don't. Well, how is it they don't? Like I'm going to prove how they don't. And I said, well, many of those companies are publicly owned. So that's how they don't. I said, anyone, you can buy stock, I can buy stock in those companies, and I'm not Jewish. But it's the Jewish success that they're jealous of. In fact, they hate any kind of success.
I'd like to follow up on something Mac has already mentioned here and take it a little bit. I'll take it a step farther. He mentioned Saddam Hussein firing the Scuds into Israel in the first Gulf War, and I don't know if people understand what really happened there, but yeah, you know, everyone expected Israel to show restraint and blah blah blah. Israel allowed the United States to set up air defense artillery units in Israel, and I believe that was the first time Israel had armies of a foreign country within their country defending them. Prior to that, I don't believe that happened.
Patriot missiles, I think they were
Yeah,
called.
Patriot missiles, air defense artillery. But here we are. Here's Israel with U.S. troops on their soil defending them, and I found it very intriguing. In fact, I didn't, you know, until I read that one particular article, I didn't realize that it was like the first time foreign troops were on Israel soil taking that action. And speaking of conducts in war, this is just a side note. You don't hear about a whole lot of atrocities with the Israeli soldiers like you do the ISIS people. Okay, you don't hear Israeli soldiers doing what the Taliban or Al Qaeda or ISIS or whatever group they're affiliated with.
Well, you don't hear the Israelis trying to force their beliefs on anybody.
And it was just it's just part of why I'm pro-Israel. And any further comments, guys? Here.
No, basically that. I mean, you'll notice that all these people who are anti-Israel are the types of people that are trying to force certain worldviews on other people, and the Israelis are really just going, look, we just leave us alone, let us live, we'll let you live. And that's a big, big critical difference in national philosophies.
Mac, anything? Or
No, I think that covers it pretty well.
all right. Well, thanks for watching, everyone, and stay tuned for further videos. And as we like to say on the Michigan Conservative Roundtable, be safe, watch your six, and don't tread on me.
I think that's